Alright. Subcourse edition 00 OD0455 Introduction Simplified Test Equipment Internal Combustion Engines. Lesson 2, Cost, Performance, and Test all installation procedure of the gasoline diesel engine. Identify the correct, let's task 2, identify the correct procedure of the performing test for all installation of diesel engine conditions, self-study environment given the subcourse test without assistance. Within 2 hours, reference no supplementary reference or need for this task. Introduction. First task of the lesson, performance test and follow the installation procedure of the gasoline spark ignition engines was covered. Now the same procedure of the diesel and compression ignition engines will be discussed. Many of the vehicles at Army's inventory of diesel engines, so the important remains for the personnel to thoroughly understand what the procedure of the system. Simplified test equipment and internal combustion engine test set to prevent serious injury to personnel. All warnings listed with the compression ignition with the TM 94910571112 and P. Vehicle TM must be observed. 2. Installation of pulse tachometer. The pulse tachometer is a component with a simplified test equipment and internal combustion test set transducer kit with a for the distance of the engine speed only with a compression ignition diesel engine. Warning to prevent damage of the equipment and injury with the personnel of the turn engine off before starting installing pulse tachometer. Clean all mounting surfaces before installing pulse tachometer to prevent injury of foreign substances that may damage engine and transducer. Our vehicles with a tachometer on vehicle equipment with a tachometer with the instrument panel possible with the disconnect of the drive cable, the back off the tachometer connect with a simplified test equipment internal combustion engine pulse tachometer, use the adapter transducer kit with the item with the F31A reactor readings occur with no measurement to detect the drive cable that may be faulty. Connect the pulse tachometer directly with the engine, right angle with the drive of the engine, locate with the test point of the vehicle equipment, the pulse tachometer installation by use the vehicle TM. Use the pulse tachometer on the vehicles equipped with the tachometer, refer to TM, proceed with the disconnecting of the tachometer cable from the engine, install the pulse tachometer replaced with the removed tachometer cable. Connect P1 from the transducer cable to W2 with the J2 vehicle test, the vehicle test meter. Connect the P2 with the transducer cable to connect with the pulse tachometer. Caution: be sure to cable with W24 with the clear with the belts and fan blade, with no go with the no crank start with the vehicle control with the crank of the engine to press with the start switch. Listen to the start motor to see if it sounds if it's running over speed. If the start motor does not sound like it's running over speed, if the sound buzz at home and click, etc. If there's no sound at all with this, proceed the start circuit and no go 80. If the start sounds like it's running over speed, check with the teeth of the flywheel. Refer to the vehicle TM procedure. Remove with the start boat motor. Check with the missing of the damaged test flywheel. With the good, refer to the vehicle TM. Replace with the start solenoid starter motor. Rerun go chain test. Verify that the problem has been solved. There is no other problems exist. If the teeth of the flywheel are missing or damaged, notify intermediate direct support maintenance. No go 30. Engine crank and no start. To begin with, the shut off the fuel with the dial number 10. The test select switch. Then press the test button. Check the engine switch. Watch the readout display. Compare the result of the minimum cranking speed limit is in the vehicle TM. Cranking speed is not okay. Proceed with the start circuit. No go 80. If the crank speed is okay, check with the fuel supply. Verify that there's fuel in the tank. If the fuel filters have been changed, the fuel tank has been run dry, refer to the vehicle TM with the bled air out of the fuel system necessary to dry any water with the primary fuel filter. Continue with the drain until the fuel appears. Check with the kindle flat and broken fuel lines in the tank of the filter. If the engine of the vehicle is equipped with the quick disconnect fittings, check with the blockage, quick disconnect. Check with the fuel shut off, solenoid circuitry, emergency fuel shut off, turn off the fuel accessory switch, dial 24 in the test switch. Press the test button, crank the engine to read out the display. Compare the number of the display with the fuel pressure specification vehicle TM. If the fuel pressure above the limit specified, refer to the vehicle TM proper operation fuel shutoff device. Check with the restricted air intake. If the engine still does not start with the weather is cold, refer to the vehicle TM to check with the cold water start device. If the vehicle still will not start, with the notify the intermediate depot support and maintenance when the vehicle is returned. Be sure to verify the problem and solve that no other problems exist. Go to the go chain set test. Before opening the fuel line, make sure that the air is around the fuel line is clean. Warning: the LVTP7 to the LVPT7A, some of the M113s, any other vehicle with a master switch with a negative battery capable of sparking may occur with the vehicle test if the getting touch with the vehicle while the vehicle's master switch is off. Some flight testing equipment is internal combustion power is on with the sparking in the presence of the fuel and or vapors result of the discontinuing fuel line presenting the potential hazard of personnel. You can prevent hazard setting of the vehicle test meter doing so only on rubber bumpers vehicle with doing all of the testing of the vehicle master switch on. Install the pressure transducer red strip at the inlet side of the primary fuel filter. Connect the P1 with the transducer cable to forward, W2 with the G2 with the vehicle test with the connector, P2 with the transducer cable to the connector with the transducer. Dial 45 of the test select switch, press the hold test button, calibrate PAT message appears display. Release the test button, wait for the offset value to appear on the display. Offset value not within the limits of 4 and negative positive 4. Refer to the chapter 3, section 2, the TM94910571112B for the offset isolation procedure. If the offset value within the limits measure the fuel pressure during cranking, this is done by turning the fuel and accessory with the pressuring test button, cranking the engine, watching the vehicle test meter display, and reading the greater than 2 inches of the mercury. You are freezing temperatures. Refer to vehicle TM for procedures to be followed. If the reading is not greater than 2 inches of the mercury, replay for the fuel line to repeat the test step of the check of the fuel pressure during cranking. If the pressure is still low but the fuel pump is defectively authorized, replay for the if so, do so, but notify the intermediate direct support or maintenance. Gauge test number the G no-go 31. If the vehicle with the LVT7A1, refer to the vehicle TM, troubleshoot with the gauge to sensor the repairs necessary. If the vehicle is LVTP7A1, install the test probe cable, the connecting P1 with the test probe, W2 with the J4 with the vehicle test meter, shut off the red and black cable leads together, and dial 89 with the test select switch, press and hold the test button until calibration message appear with the display, press the test button, wait for the offset value of the display. If the offset value is between negative 6.8 and positive 6.8 with the system test, simplified testing, equipment and internal combustion engine bad and need to be replaced. If the offset value is within the limits, isolate the fault with the sending out gauge of the remove of the wire with the temperature setting of the vehicle, connect with the red clip with the lead with the wire with the remove the sending unit, connect the black clip lead with the ground with the turn the vehicle or accessory on the switch. All the vehicle testing meter indicate the battery voltage. Refer to the vehicle TM. Check the isolate with the faulty wire. Hardness the gauge. After making repairs, remember to rerun the go chain. Verify the problem and solve if no other problems exist. No go starting circuit test. No while cranking the engine of the bad or discharge battery. Possible vehicle test meter lost power. Come on again after the cranking and stop. Display 4 dashes. And if occurs with cleaning the battery post, clamp to try again. Vehicle test meter still loses power. Connect the vehicle test meter power cable to get batteries in another vehicle. Perform following tests and using the test probe cable. Your starting circuit resistant, dial 74 with the test select with the switch for the test button, shut off the fuel, and then turn the so that the vehicle cannot start. Which go appears as display with cranking the engine, then stop cranking the vehicle, turn the display with the off and error message. If the display does not show a number of the word go, still the display with the word go is still not displayed. Proceed with the step. Check with the starting current with the described in paragraph 2C and 2 below. If the word go is still displayed, repeat with above. The proceed with the word go still is displayed with after cranking, then the starter is not being energized. You should check the starter voltage. If the number is displayed with the compare with the number of the test limits with the vehicle, the TM, the starting circle, the resistance not within limits of the vehicle, TM with the resistance high. But if the resistance on high, then it's low, you should look for a short and start with no short with the found with the replace the starter motor. Refer to the TM for the proper procedure for the reuse. If starting circuit resistance side, check with the starter with the voltage starter circuit resistance within the limits specified with the vehicle TM probably earlier than due to weak battery tight engine. Perform battery test number go 81 no go 81. Starter circuit dial 81 test switch of the test button. Change the engine with the fuel shut off valve with the starter current with the dial above 100 amps. Proceed to no go 81 battery test. If the starter current is above 100 amps, react with the message E013. Display check with the starting circuit resistance. This indicates short circuit the frozen starter of tight engine. The wiring starter for the short circuits repairs necessary. Starter voltage dial at 68 with the test select switch with the pressure for the test button with the crank of the engine with the observe the display voltage. If the starter voltage is not 17 volts, then check the starter solenoid voltage discussed in 2E4 below. The starter voltage is above 17 volts. Check the starter negative cable to drop. The dial 69 with the test select switch with the press the test button. Check the engine with the observe the display voltage. If the cable drop is not less than limited with the vehicle, test the cards for the inspect with the clean all ground cables for the starter for the engine battery. Check for the integrity for the repairs necessary. If the cable drop is less than limited with voltage, test cards refer to the vehicle TM and replace with the starter motor. V4. Starter solenoid voltage check. The dial 17 test select with the switch for the test button, ensuring that the engine with the observer the display voltage of the starter solenoid voltage down above the 18 volt. The battery voltage crank of the starter solenoid voltage above the voltage will start. Circuit resistance high. Check with the battery cable connection. The starter solenoid repair the cables or connection necessary. If the cable connections are good, replace with the starter solenoid. Go ahead message occurring during the starter circuit resistance test. Check with the switches wiring with to be solenoid. If the switch's wirings are all okay, replace the starter solenoid. Battery voltage check. Tell 69 test select switch for the test button. Check crank the engine. Observe the display voltage. Battery voltage is not above 19 volts while cranking. Press form battery test number no-go 81. If the battery voltage was 19 volts, check the switch if the wiring starting solenoid repair is necessary. Remember, after completing any repair with the return the go chain test list. If the problem will be corrected if no other problems exist. Alright, the battery test number no-go 81. Each of the battery tested individually during the test with the fully supplied with a shut-off with the key of the engine started with the install of the test probe cable for the perform of the offset test with the connecting with the test probe cable, the W2 with the J4 with the vehicle test meter with the short with the red and black leads, the clamp leads together. Tell 89 to the test select switch for the press and hold the test button until the calibrated message appears with the display with the read the test button and the offset value appears with the display offset value down between negative 16 and negative 6.8 and positive 6.8 of the system. Testing equipment internal combustion engine is bad and needs to be replaced. The offset value within the limits of the connected the red clip with the negative port for the being tested with the connected the black clip delete of the negative port for the battery being tested. No condition with the now condition the current probe with the due to the offset test with the condition current probe with essentially with the beginning done with the telling with the vehicle test me with the high current with the highest current that is what they encounter during the particular test. Current probe is always conditioned prior to performing offset test. Clamp the current probe around the battery cable. The current of the receiver of the battery pair of the batteries connecting the power being tested. To pull the arrow probe toward the negative post of the temp of the current. Crank the engine for several cycles. Turn off the electrical power dial 90 with the test select switch for the press and hold of the test button until the calibration message appears. Then relieve the test button and wait for the offset value to appear. If the offset value is not between the negative 245 positive 205, refer to chapter 3 with the section 2 TM 949105711 and P with the offset faulty isolation procedure. If the offset value is within the limits, measure the battery resistance, change dials to 79 into the test select switch to press the test button. If the word go does not appear in the error message display, refer to chapter 2 section 1 TM 94910571112 with the definition for the error message correct if necessary. Repeat the test. If the word go does appear with the press the start switch until the word off appear with the display with the wait for the display with the chain with the number does not display with the word go still with the display with the back connection with the star circle with the check of the cable the connection to the star retest with the display with the still show with the word go with it may have the very good very power battery being test of the battery and pair. If the battery display into the 4 nines, then bad connection of the battery being tested. Clean tighten the connection. Retest the simple display show E0134 dashes or quadruple nines after the battery has been charged. Replace with the battery. If the number display comparable to the reading of the resistance listed with the vehicle TM, the battery resistance check if not less than listed limit of the vehicle with the TM. Then check the battery. Check with the battery electrolyte level to clean the battery. Terminals for the vehicle TM. Check with the specific gravity of the battery. Change the battery if necessary. Repeat the test. No, if the battery fails the freezing weather and crank of the engine with a 5 seconds of retest will warm the battery slightly. If the battery has been charged with the battery resistant chain with the greater than limit, replace with the battery. If the battery resistant chain is less than the limit, the bench for the battery resistant dial 77 the test select switch, press the test button. If the go appear for the display with the press for the start switch until the off appear for the display. If the error message appear with the display, refer to the chapter 2 section 1 TM 94910571112 and P in the description. The error message correct if necessary. Repeat the test. If the vehicle battery resistance less than limited, specify vehicle test battery okay with the vehicle more than one battery perform test on the next battery. If the battery resistance is not less than the limited, check with the battery electrical light level to clean the battery terminals. After marking any repairs, then return to the go chain test to verify that the problem is fixed and then no other problems exist. RG, charging circuit with the battery voltage check with the go 5 with the first set with the engine speed with the turning of the vehicle headlights successfully adjusting the engine speed with the fast out with the next minute with the battery voltage dial 67 the test select switch with the press test button with the display with the verified level voltage between 26.5 and 29.5 volts direct current. The battery voltage is within these limits of the generator indicate with the give the normal reading of the turn off the headlights successfully stop the engine refer to appendix F the TM 94910571112 and P TM for a procedure of the file performing the go 6 of the engine warm up coolant check oil pressure test. If the battery voltage within the limit is specified with the generator indicator gauge if it does not include give the normal reading refer to the vehicle TM and replace with the generator indicator. Remember any type of completing repair during this section being sure that return the go chain test to verify that the problem and solve if no other problem exists. If the battery voltage is not within the limit specified but the battery voltage is now low, not low, refer to the vehicle TM adjust for the replace with the regulator. If the regulator is built in, the alternator replace for the entire unit. If the battery voltage is low, allow the vehicle to run for 5 minutes with which display with the battery voltage is not within specified limit to turn off the headlights successfully for the voltage engine. Paragraph 2H for the page 47 of the procedure following the performing charging circuit. Test no-go 50. If the barrier voltage within the generator indicated gauge does not read normal, refer to the vehicle TM. Proceed with the troubleshooting of the generator with the indicator warning generated indicator gives a normal reading. Turn off the headlights and accessories. Stop the vehicle engine speed. Proceed to the next test. Alright, H, charging circuit, test no-go 50. Warning, turn off the vehicle engine off. Note, the 650 amp generator refer to the vehicle TM. Vehicles for the oil fuel pressure switch of the charging circuit of the installation of the current probe and around the positive of the power cable to point the air of the power probe toward the battery. Now perform the current probe offset test. Turn all vehicle electrical power to dial 90 of the test for the select switch. Then press hold of the test button until calibration message appears. Release the test button. Wait until the offset value appears on the display. Offset value is now between the negative 225 positive 225. Refer to the chapter 3, section 2, the TM 941012 and P. Offset isolation procedure. If the offset value within these limits, check with the charging system maximum output current. Dial 03 with the test select switch and press the test button. Dial 90 with the test select switch and press for the test button with the start of the vehicle engine. Turn on the lights successfully with the start of the set the engine speed with the fast output. Compare with the number of the display with the output current listed for the vehicle TM. If the output current is greater than the output current listed in the vehicle TM, use the current probe to locate the accessory with the wire drawing excessive current. If the current is going to the battery, check the electrical light with a specific gravity. Refer to the vehicle with the TM and make with the necessary repairs. If the output current lower than the output current listed for the vehicle TM, the engine vehicle, the accessory output of the engine have the drive belts. Refer to the vehicle TM with the check for the alternator generator drive belts. Proper tension for the belts are not okay. Refer to the vehicle TM with adjusting the repair of the belts. If the engine does not have the alternator generator belts, if the belts are okay, does the vehicle have an oil fuel pressure switch with the charging circuit with the check of the operation switch of the repairs necessary? Remember to rerun the go chain test to verify if the problem has been solved if no other problems exist. If the vehicle does not equip the oil fuel pressure switch of the charging circuit, the test probe cable must be installed with doing testing. Warning, disconnect the battery ground cable before proceeding, preventing arcing alternator generator accessory removed. Vehicle with the oil and fuel pressure switches and charging following hook up the test must not be possible. All vehicle charging system output voltage is not accessible. Either a regulator, generator, alternator charging circuit, or the cable to loose for the corrode of the connection. Proceed with the check with the field current to install with the test probe with the remove of the X-axis. Cover to expose the output terminal of the alternator generator. Connect the P1 with the test probe with the W2 with the J4 with the vehicle test meter with the short of the red and back clip that leads together. Dial 89 test select switch for the press and hold the test button with the calibrated message appear with the display. With the relief the test button, wait for the offset value to appear with the display. If the offset value is not between negative 6 and positive 6.8, simple test equipment internal combustion test that needs to be replaced. If the offset value is within limits, connect the red clip with the lead of the output terminal alternator generator. Connect to the black lead with the ground. Reconnect the battery ground cable to start the vehicle engine. Turn on the vehicle lights and accessories. Set the engine speed of the fast idle. If the output voltage is between 26.5 to 29.5 volts, refer to the vehicle TM with the procedure to repair with the bad connections, broken cable, the charging system, output ground circuits. After completing repair, with the return the go chain test and verify that the problem has been solved if no other problems exist. If the output voltage is not within these limits, stop the engine and turn off the lights accessory. If the voltage regulator is not built in with the alternator generator, check the ignition voltage sense output of the vehicle TM. The disconnect of the ignition voltage sensing wire from the alternator generator. Connect the black clip lead to the ground. Connect red clip lead switch side with the sensing wire to accessory switches on. If the reading of the display is necessary of the battery voltage, refer to the vehicle TM or play for the alternator generator. If the reading of it is not with the battery voltage, refer to the vehicle TM with the bad connection, broken wire from the accessory switch, the alternator generator. Next job, check the field current with the installation current probe around the wire number 1 generator, the regulator cable point. Arrow on the current probe toward the alternator generator, dial 90 into the test select switch, and press and hold the test button until the calibrated message appears on the display. Press the test button and start the vehicle engine. Set the engine speed to fast idle. Turn on the lights and accessory. Press the test button. Compare with the number of the vehicle test meter with the values listed in the vehicle TM. Note, on systems that separate rectifier with the current probe with the place around the wire number 1, either the generator rectifier cable, the rectifier, or the regulator cable. Shop with the vehicle engine. The vehicle current is not lower than the field current specification. Listen to the vehicle TM or play with the alternator generator using the vehicle TM. If the field current is low, refer to the vehicle TM. Check with the continuity tape of the cables of the regulator with the alternator generator system. Simplified testing, equipment, internal combustion engine test set. If the cables are okay, refer to the appendix FTM 94910571112 and P. Further check with the charging system and the simplified testing, equipment, internal combustion engine. Return the go chain to, after completing repair, verify that the problems are fixed, but no other problems exist. 1. Governor check power test number no-go 7. And then, no. The vehicle identification no-go test number 1 must be test go 1 Enter prior to the power test will prevent error message E004 subsequent unsuccessful completion power test. If you do not have the vehicle ID number, the number of the cylinders was entered in go number 1 and testing 12 of the power test instead of 13. If using 12, the first number to appear with a display with a single release of the accelerator. Governor operation must be checked before performing power test to avoid possible engine damage. Check with the governor operation watching with the vehicle test me with the display gradually increase the engine speed with the maximum governor speed and indicate the vehicle TM. Then depress the accelerator full throttle position by revolution of the RPM that does not stay within the limit of the vehicle TM. If the engine's RPM is greater than the upper limit, then notify the intermediate depot service maintenance. Engine RPM is not greater than the upper limit is below than the lower limit. The governor power says test faults isolation no go 90. Paragraph 21, page 53, engine RPM stays within the limits in the vehicle TM of the power test. Caution, do not perform power tests if the engine temperature is above the normal operation test or out of the engine. Ensure the operated temperature before performing power tests. When engine running at a normal operation test, and the temperature dial 13, the test select switch, press the test button, wait for the prompt message for the CIP to appear. CIP appears, press down on the accelerator, hold it down into the floor until the vehicle test meter displays off. When the vehicle off is released to the accelerator with the number representing the percentage of the will appear with the TM with the compares with the of the node of the vehicle TM. If the power is above minimum test limit of the vehicle, the TM proceed with the idle speed. Check with the go to 7, the paragraph 2J below. If the power is not above the minimum test limit of the vehicle that does not have fuel water separated, perform the governor power test fault installation no go to 90. Paragraph 21, page 53. If the vehicle does have a fuel water separator, repeat the vehicle to serve the fuel water separator. Repeat the power test. If the power still fails, to proceed with the government power test fault isolation no go 90. Alright, your idle speed check goes 70, dial 10 with the test switch. If the press the S button, refer to the vehicle TM, then jump the engine idle, the RPM shown the vehicle TM. Watch the vehicle test me with the display without 10 seconds verify that the idle speed remains within tolerance. If the idle speed does not remain in tolerance, notify the intermediate direct support maintenance. If the idle remains tolerant, proceed the compression unbalanced test go 8. Compression unbalanced test go 8. Do not perform more than 2 compression unbalanced tests in a row. Vehicle batteries may be discharged. Caution, the engine must be normal operating temperature performing comprehensive unbalanced tests. No, in testing an M60 vehicle, the use of the manual fuel shut off the dial 14 test switch. If the press test button, wait for prompts to go to appear. When go appears, crank the engine just after cranking the vehicle test me. It should change the 4 dashes indicating the vehicle test meter is accepting data. Stop cranking the engine vehicle test meter displays the off the EO13. Wait for a number to be displayed. The voltage test meter does not display a number that displays go. Repeat the test. If the voltage test meter displays fail, run the compression unbalanced test. If the failed message still appears, notify the ADS maintenance. Voltage test meter displays the E013 indicates either dash batteries or low cranking speed. The operator stopped crank during the test. Check to repeat the test. Voltage test meter displays the number. Compare the number to the test limit listed in vehicle TM. If the results are outside the test limit, rerun the test. If the compression unbalance is still out of limits, to notify the IDS maintenance, and the compression unbalance is within the test limit, this ends all go tests. R1, governor power test installation no go 90 with the vehicle that has failed with the power test step with the remove of the air cleaner. Repeat with the power test step. If the vehicle has failed with the governor, check with the start with the running compression unbalanced step. Paragraph K52. Caution, check with the air inlet clear tools, debris, dirt, with the dust performing the following tests. First, remove the air cleaner. Repeat the power test. Remove the air cleaner from the air intake housing. Repeat the power test for the paragraph 6.1, page 6, page 51. Paragraph 6, page 51. If the engine passes the power test for the air cleaner out with the install of the new air filter, engine does not pass the power test for the air cleaner out with the re-test the air cleaner and perform the compression unbalanced test. Paragraph K, page 52. If the compression unbalance is within the limits, install with the transducer, insert the pressure transducer blue strips into the outlet side with the secondary fuel filter. If the vehicle is in with the M123A1C, with the M520, the M809, the pressure transducer with the red strip instead of the blue strip 1. If the vehicle is the M520GOE, check the fuel pressure gauge for the fuel filter normal reading high level. The fuel pressure gauge reading normal number. Notify IDS maintenance. If the gauge reads low, remove it. Proceed isolating the transducer to check the pressure of the simplified testing equipment internal combustion engine. Connect the P1 transducer cable to the W4 with the J2 for the voltage test meter. Connect the P2 transducer cable to connect to the transducer on the transducer. Alright, warning on the LVTP-7 and the LVTP-7A1, some of the M113s, any other vehicle has a master switch with a negative battery capable of sparking may occur with the vehicle testing meter case. Check the vehicle while all vehicle master switch is off with the simple testing equipment of the internal combustion engine power is on. The sparking is the present fuel with the vapor, the result of the disconnected fuel lines presenting potential hazard to the personnel with preventing this hazard by setting down the vehicle testing meter done with only the rubber bumpers so the vehicle does all the testing vehicle master switch is on. Alright, your 5 dial switches, dial 450 using the 49 red strip transducer into the test select switch, press hold the test button until calibration message appears. Alright, and displays. The test button wait for the offset value to appear on the display. Offset value is not between negative 150 and 150. The blue stripe transducer, negative 4 and positive 4. Red stripe transducer, result of the Chapter 3, Section 2 TM 94910571112 and P. Offset of the fault installation procedure. If the offset value is limited with receive the measure, fuel pressure high idle, press the test button, start the engine and watch the display, accelerate the engine, hold idle. High idle. Compare the number to display with the fuel pressure specification of the vehicle TM and the fuel pressure above the limit. If the limit is negative, the test result is above the limit. If close to zero limit, the fuel pressure is above the limit. Check for the air intake of the system. The fuel pressure is not above the limit. Check for the crimped, broken lines. Replace the fuel filters necessary. Check the vehicle's throttle linkage, fuel travel, the proper adjustment. Make repairs necessary. If reading is still low, notify the intermediate direct maintenance and check the air intake of the vehicle. This is one of the following type of the M123A1C, M52, M60, M48, M35A, M44A2, M809, LVTP-7. Refer to the vehicle TM. Check for the air intake system repair necessary. If the air intake system is okay, notify the intermediate direct maintenance. Inspect the blower air inlet of the following vehicles: M107, M109, M110, M113, M551, M561, M578. If the blower air inlet is not clogged, notify the intermediate direct support maintenance. If the blower air inlet is clogged, refer to the vehicle TM. Then inspect the air intake and hose and blow inlet screen clean if necessary. If screen inlet air clean, notify the intermediate direct support maintenance. And then it goes into the practice exercises and then the answers, and that completes. And then the references, and that completes the reading of the Subcourse Edition OD0455 Introduction, some flight test equipment, internal combustion engines.